is the deputy youth leader for the NDC. He joins us in the studios. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
You look really dapper this morning. You had a good weekend?
Yes, quite an exciting weekend.
Okay.
And, also, maybe because you are back. So.
Are you going to wink again? And also joining us this morning is Mr. Richard Kumado, and he's a security expert. Good to have you in the studio.
Thank you, Bella.
I hope everything is well.
Yes, please. You are welcome back to
Thank
Ghana.
you very much. Oh, I've been back for like a week.
Really?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have.
Okay.
So I'm glad to be back. But I came back to the many challenges that existed even before I left. Some gotten worse. In fact, as of this morning, if you're picking your trotro, your taxi, your Uber, you're going to have to pay 20% more of your fares, because as at Saturday, members of the Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana had increased the transport fares by 20%. And the PRO of the association said that the new fares took effect on Saturday. He said they were called upon to start the new increment on Monday, May 9, but he believes that it will not make any difference. So the decision was to start on Saturday. Let's listen to them and we'll come back and discuss it.
Not the first time. It happened then when Alaji Tete was in power. Then government announced its fare, or I would say Jerry John Rawlings then announced transport fare. But the next day, Alaji Tete came out telling government, no, that is not the real fare. This is the real fare, and we are taking it from that day. And we started and we take it. So this is not a new one. But the difference is that for all these 2 years, we have been coming out with a percentage and calculate it and tell people, yes, today is the day that it will start like Monday. But this one, we went to the meeting yesterday and then announced it that it will take effect from today. That is the only difference in it. For now, I will not talk of the 10% that is left out. Because at the meeting yesterday, yes, D3RTU and other transport operators were, saying that 30% we must take it. Because once we have suffered for it, we must take it. But it is from people, some of us that say, yes, if we take that 30%, it's enough. But it should rather worsen our loading capacity to our various stations. So we should do it 20. The next adjustment time, then we'll see how to incorporate that 10 that is left into it. So this is how it went. There is no allowance in this one. Because we know for sure, what I can tell you for sure, that it's coming window, that's on the 16th of this very month. There will be upwards adjustments in the fuel price. The fuel price will go up. What we learned and we know, it will go up. But that doesn't say if it goes up by like 50 or 10 pesos, we'll add to our rate. We have a threshold that will reach. If it is up to that 10% threshold, we will add the remaining 10. Even if we will not add the 10 or we'll add some of the remaining 10 to it and then charge it.
And so that is the PRO for the Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana, explaining why there was a need to increase transport fares by 20%. Very worrying, I must say. And in fact, if I should tell you more, the IES has spoken and they're saying that there's a looming shortage of diesel in Ghana. We should expect it sometime. She says already some marketing oil companies are feeling the heat, and at the various pumps indicate that there's no diesel at these fuel stations. So according to the IES, the shortage is as a result of the Russian-Ukraine war, which seems to not end anytime soon. Also joining us this morning from the side of the MPP, he is Mr. George Ayisi, and he's the Director of Communications for NADMO. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good, by grace.
Okay. I'm not sure if you discussed this, if you mentioned this as a looming disaster, especially with the price increase in transport fares and diesel also, not being available. What is government doing about this?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning to my good friend, Edem Agbana, and my senior colleague here. Good morning to our viewers and the production crew. Before I proceed, you see I'm in black. The weekend was funeral issues. Saturday I was in Oda. Our former DC, Honorable Kwabna Bempong, died, and we had to go and bury him. His wife happened to be my church member and then a friend. So I was there, plus the political angles too. The Honorable Opon Nkrumah and Osaf Mafu were all there. He was a party stalwart. And yesterday, from Odan had to move to Cape Coast. We lost our Central Regional Communications Director, Mr. Robert Misa Staga. Thanks to all the regional executives and Cape Coast North and South executives for your support. May his soul rest in peace. We believe his wife and children will be supported and comforted by God. Now, with the issues, one, as we speak, as of this morning, the price per barrel is $110 on the international market. And on the diesel issue, the problem is not that there's no diesel on the world market. The problem is that they are having difficulty in getting transporters to move the diesel across the globe. And so the Ghanaian government is asked that we try and store some more, import more, and then store them in our storage tanks, Bost and other storage tanks that are available, so that the looming imminent shortage that we are looking at will be averted. And I think that is a good step that we need to take. Once the product is on the world market, we need to do everything we can to get it moved to our jurisdiction, and so we can get our consumers getting it as and when they need it. Having said that, we know what is going on, and this challenge is mainly, you said it, when we say it's Russia, Ukraine, some people don't want to accept it, but these are the bare facts, because the world market are trying to cut out Russia. You get it? They don't want to buy and import Russian products, okay, especially the oil. And that is difficult. If you do that, their contribution to the world market is substantial. And so in trying to do that, it means there's going to be difficulty, which difficulties we are beginning to see. So let's see. If they do that too, it's good to cripple Russia in the continuous bombarding of Ukraine. It's not been fair. Some very huge installations, factories and others are being targeted and destroyed for nothing in Ukraine. And so if the world is now taking that step to do things that will cripple Russia, because oil is one of their major backbones and bringing revenue to them, that will be good, and then maybe limit the ability to continue the bombardment on Ukraine.
That I'm not sure is going to happen, because Russia has found a way. They've devised a means to also still make their money. They're saying that now don't buy from us in dollars. If you're buying from us, buy in rubles, so that we can also show up, economy and strengthen our currency. And so that means that those of us who may
that will even be
relying on them
the Russia
completely will suffer even more.
Yes.
So what are we doing then?
Yeah, so that, unfortunately, we are also exporters of crude. It's time, Bella, I think it's time we properly resource the Tema Oil Refinery and begin to refine our products here. Continuing to import finished products to the country is not good for us in terms of forex and all other things. Is to our disadvantage as a country. So I think in the midst of crisis, if we are able to think beyond the crisis and look at the possibilities and opportunities available and seize those opportunities and use them to our advantage, that will be good for us. So at this time, I think government should take a cursory look at TOR and do whatever we can to make TOR start, refining crude in the country. Some make the arguments like our crude cannot be refined here. But I think if we are minded to think that we want to do it, we can get the equipment and facilities. They call something catalytic crackers and others in TOR to be able to refine our own and stop the importation of finished. I know there's a cabal in there who are making huge profits in importing finished products into the country. But hey, wait a minute. The country is more important to every other individual's business or whatever. So the good of the country should be a priority. And then let's pump whatever resources, whether human, financial, technical, to TOR to be able to start refining our crude.
And while we look at that, transport fares have also gone up.
Yeah.
Now, these drivers are saying that when you go for a loan, the interest rate on it is so high, and yet you expect us to, charge the same amount for transport fares. We're paying more for fuel. We cannot even afford to maintain our cars anymore. So we don't have a choice than to increase transport fares. But that regular Ghanaian whose salary still remains the same, that's the person that's suffering because they have to pay more for literally everything. Now, transport fares as well.
Yeah.
What are we doing to address this? Have we had time to even engage, the Drivers Association to see if we can at least meet them halfway so that the regular Ghanaian does not bear the brunt of what is happening on the international market?
Yeah, the last time the transport minister really engaged them when they did that 15% increment in coal. But as of this latest one, I don't have the updates as to whether the ministry engaged them. But they've been having continuous engagement. As to whether they concluded that engagement before announcing the effective date being today is another matter. On the matter, Bella, of interest rate, I disagree. The facts do not support that. Interest rate is really moved from 32 and it's come down maybe from where it was, okay?
What is the interest rate at the moment?
Average interest rate is around 23, 24%.
That's still pretty high.
Yes, it's the double.
When you take a loan in the UK, you pay just about what, 1%?
Yes, I know.
Of it. Even that, they are complaining because it was less.
Yes, and
it recently moved to 1%,
moved,
and they're complaining
and inflation
about that.
is moved small, marginally. Here we are talking inflation 19.4%. Okay, so in the US, when it moved to about I think 4 or so, everybody was angry. You get it? That why should inflation be there? Interest was hovering around, and then in the UK as well. So our situation is peculiar. And then two, I agree with you, because of the exchange rate depreciation, you're looking at spare parts and others, ties and all that are imported, almost everything. That's why this government is making that drive to industrialize our economy. And then we are getting assemblage plants here in Ghana and all that, so that cost of vehicles will go down. But until then, as long as we continue to import most of the parts of vehicles and it's dollar denominated, we'll be facing the challenges. But as the Vice President and the President have assured, we are taking steps to stabilize the system. And international individuals are making the Ghana's economy is gradually stabilizing. Okay,
is it?
Yeah, it became volatile when there was the fear that the budget wasn't going to be passed, as stated by the Vice President, and then e-levy wasn't going to be passed. Okay, so the international community was worried about the ability of government to rake in the needed revenue to run things, and so the investment community got panicked and were moving their capitals out. Okay, so it affected demand supply, dollar thing.
Okay.
But now that all those things are over, economy will be stabilized, even though we are in the volatile global enclave. Okay, we hope to get out of that. It's going to be challenging and doubting. And the last one, Bella, is about the consumer, the average worker. Yes, salaries have not moved up the way we all wanted, to be honest. If you compare, there's this cartoon on social media. You see the fuel, and there's another guy, and salary was so short, he refusing to grow. Those are realities. But unfortunately, the labor enclave is also a bit disturbing. You get it. But we believe the labor minister and the others, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and other people will engage them, so we have appreciable increase to get to cushion the consumer.
Let me bring Adam in before I go to Richard. Adam, what do you say? Because at this point, I don't think that the regular Ghanaian really wants all these explanations and excuses as to what has been done, what has not been done. For them, once they pick their trotro this morning and they have to pay extra for it, they start asking questions. Why am I paying more for it when my salary is the same? Everything else is becoming more expensive. Government says that, well, of course, Russia and Ukraine, that war is also affecting the state of the economy. What do you say?
Bella, let me say good morning to our cherished viewers across the world. And also mention that I was driving back from the Volta region on Saturday on the Sogakope barrier. I met all these hawkers, sellers. They asked me to tell you, Johnny, and the team here that they watch you a lot. You are doing a good job.
Thank
and they
you.
asked me to mention that they have a number of challenges, and so one day you should move your production crew there to do the morning show from there, just so you understand some of the challenges and the risks associated with their work. And so it's proper because I promised them. I'm not like President Akufo-Addo, who makes promises and never fulfills. So because I promised I will mention, it is only proper that I mention them this morning. Secondly, throughout the weekend, I have been fighting a fight on social media. Our colleagues, our students in the United Kingdom on Government of Ghana scholarship. It is important to mention that government has failed to pay the 2021-2022 academic year fees for them. And as we speak, many of them are stranded.
Okay. So it's not all of them. Some have received, because I know someone who.
So there are various scholarships, and so it's important. There are various scholarships. There is Get Fund, there is Government of Ghana, there is GNPC. Some of the scholarships are institutional. Some have been paid, but I'm saying that many of them have not been paid, especially those on the Government of Ghana scholarship. And so they are stranded in the UK. Their schools have threatened to actually sack them because they are unable to pay their fees. The academic year is almost coming to an end. It's important for government to respond to their call and resolve this problem immediately. So I wanted to bring these two to your attention. Back to the issue of fuel pricing. I think it is ridiculous. Anytime I listen to government communicators and even the president make it appear as though fuel prices started increasing when the Russia-Ukraine war started. There are various factors that determine fuel price in Ghana, and it's important for us to mention them. The world price is one. It's important, yes, it's a variable. But we also have taxes and levies that constitute 40% of the price buildup. We also have cedi depreciation. And so apart from the world price, we have cedi depreciation, we have taxes and levies that constitute 40% of the price. And so government has responsibility over many of the other factors. Why have they reduced this whole issue of the economic challenges that we are facing to Russia-Ukraine crisis? We have a government that has refused to take responsibility, that they are always shifting blame, that the next time it was either COVID or something else. Prior to COVID, it was John Mahama. Everything that was wrong with the economy was John Mahama. After John Mahama, COVID. After COVID, now Russia-Ukraine crisis. Are we the only country in the world suffering from the effects of the Russia-Ukraine war? That everything, every economic hardship, they are attributing it to it. Bella, when you look at the price buildup, you have 40% being taxes and levies that goes to government directly. When the GPR2 officials petitioned the president and had meeting with the president asking him to reduce the fuel prices, take out some of the taxes and the levies, the president said that would amount to losing 4 billion annually. What it means is that the president sees the petroleum industry as an easily taxable industry, and so they want to raise money. Let us put it on it. Forgetting that, Bella, prices of petroleum products have effect on every aspect of the economy. The beans seller who will take taxi to Makola to go and buy her beans on a Monday morning to cook and sell to the students will pay more to the taxi driver. And so when she comes back to the market, she's either reducing the quantity or the quality of what she's serving, or she will increase the price. The taxi driver, so in the mornings, days like this when they increase fuel prices, many of the passengers fight with the drivers and the mates. But it is not their fault. They are not running a social enterprise or an NGO by buying buses or buying cars and operating on the roads. They are profit-making ventures. And so when prices of petroleum products continues to go up, it is the government that must bear responsibility. And the government has never been honest to the people of Ghana. The Akufo-Addo government, they are never honest.
How are they never honest?
They are not honest because they, one, have refused to take responsibility. So they keep creating the impression that it is the Russian-Ukraine conflict or war that is resulting in the increment in fuel prices. Meanwhile, prior to February 2022, when the Russian-Ukraine war started, fuel prices between 2017 to 2022 February were increased 41 times.
But did the crisis not exacerbate the situation?
So what we are saying is that when there is a crisis, and that is why we have leadership, when there is a crisis and you want to cushion the people of Ghana, take a look at some of the components that comes to the government of Ghana. And I'm telling you that taxes and levies from government of Ghana alone constitute 40% of the price. Also, the cedi depreciation, because the importers buy the fuel or these products in dollars. And so if 3 months ago, $1, you need to spend 5.9, which is 5.9 cedis to get a quantity or $1, and today you are spending 7.8. Just last night, I changed some currency, so high. But so the point is that where we are today, yes, there are some crises on the global market, but Ghana is not the only country suffering from it. But our situation is that we are in crisis because leadership is not being honest, and leadership has refused to take responsibility. If you really care about the people of Ghana, in a crisis situation like this, what is expected of government is for government to come and say, we are reducing the bust margins. We are reducing some of the levies.
But they already
that comes to us as a government
margin by 2 pesos. You remember that 15 pesos decrease in fuel price? Bust margin was reduced by 2 pesos.
When when they did that,
9 pesos.
Bella, when they
and
did
then there was
that,
the
when
fuel
they did that
marketing
on this
margin.
program right here, I predicted that that particular reduction will be insignificant because in a couple of days' time, it will go up again. So now if you reduce 14 pesos, and by the time you have reduced the 14 pesos till today, how many times has it increased? And what has been the amount or the percentage of increment since the 14 pesos was reduced? So what is the net effect? If today I reduce, say, the price of fuel by even 50%, and tomorrow I increase it again by 200%, what is the net effect of it? That is the point. So this government is engaged in all these cosmetic politics, and so they will come and tell you we reduced it some time ago. But the big question is that what is the net effect of that reduction? Look, the young people of this country are suffering. Rising unemployment, excruciating economic crisis. And all that we are asking is that government to be honest, bear responsibility and say, I care about the people of Ghana. While the global international players are trying their best to see how they can solve the Russia-Ukraine war, let us reduce or suspend some of the levies, some of the taxes, just so we can cushion you as the people of Ghana. And that is what is expected of government. Not for government to continuously play the blame game and then always blame everyone else but themselves. And so, Bella, where we are today is only because leadership has failed. Let us stop mentioning this Russia, Ukraine, whatever. It is not the reason why we are here.
Mr. Kennedy Osenyakon, who is the chairman of the Transport Committee in Parliament, he had said once that if you want us to take some of these things off, at least government has to amend the laws to an extent so that we can take off some of these nuisance taxes. So give them till mid-year budget review and maybe they'll address those issues.
The speed with which they went passing the e-levy to the extent that illegally they wanted to, you saw the things that they did. Wanted the person who was chairing to even vacate the seat for another person to come and vote. You saw their commitment to the imposition of the obnoxious e-levy. If government is really committed, they should use the same speed in getting the laws amended.
Okay.
And so these things are not excuse. This government has simply failed.
All right. Let's quickly take a look at what Ghanaians have to say about the increase in fuel prices and transport fares, and we'll come back to Mr. Richard Kumado to also get a take on this matter.
Yeah, too sweet. Hey, you say, Yangasa, Lorry Fan, Angasano. One to so my no. Fuano, the binding, in TCC, TIT, reduces on metal drinking.
We have not increased fares, though the fuel prices are high, which is affecting our daily income.
I heard about the increment, but it's too small for us because I'm loading from here to 37. I'm back. This is almost 2.5. 2.5 the whole day. All the work I'm doing is 3 million. So 3 million, we remove 2.5 from 3 million. How much it remain? No, be 50 pesos remain. So if I'm holding someone car and I don't get any sales to the person, you will collect the money from car from our house.
I will be happy if the fares are increased because we always run at a loss when we work. Prices of fuel keep increasing day by day. We plead with the government to reduce the prices on fuel or increase the lorry fares.
Once my salary has not been increased, I'm receiving what was given to me as of last year. They just increased the transportation first, and if they are now coming to increase it again, whilst my salary is still at the same, I'm feeling the pinch, so I am not happy.
We are already complaining about that. The fares are increasing every day. For instance, I came from Adenta this morning. They took 4 cedis 50 pesos. Coming back again is 5 cedis. So you see, I'm not happy.
They are not happy, Mr. Richard Kumado. GPRTU had asked government to scrap some 5 taxes. When government had the chance to scrap some of these taxes, they moved totally away from those taxes and touched different taxes. And, you know, the Transport Union said this was insignificant. It would increase again. We're back at this point.
Exactly. I think we need a bit more creativity to manage some of these things, considering the volatility that comes with fuel increment. And you realize that the transport owners have been calling for government to allow them to increase their fares because of what happened from COVID to where we are. I was just whispering to my brother George that you have inflation at 19, you have interest rate about 23 thereabout. You would need a bit more creativity to survive in this economy. And I just came from Abuja not quite long. Buhari provided a huge amount of subsidy on fuel. Paul Kagame has done the same thing. Even the Europeans, in the midst of the Ukraine war, they are finding ways of coming to Tunisia, Algeria, because of the volumes Russia produces and nobody else. Even if you combine all the oil companies, they can't meet that. And they are finding ways of managing it. I think in Africa, our lack of taking responsibility is also some of the problems we face. Let's be open and meet the drivers and the consumers, the customers, at a point where we will not be having this confrontation among ourselves, because fuel prices affect almost everything. And we struggle with it over the years. You just returned from the UK and you realize that you get to the pump and it speaks to you about certain things. But here, we've played this NDC NPP politics with it for a very long time. And where there are realities, we hide behind the scene to do some of these things. The build up to the price, where Brother George and Adam was talking about it, I think government needs to look at that point again and say that there are various forms of raising government revenue. It should not always be taxed to fuel. And that is why, in the wisdom of some people, we've created certain stabilization funds for times such as this. But then we either hedge or we use it as a collateral. And once you don't have the money, even with the yield levy, we've done economics, we've done finance, so we cannot be saying we are naive people to understand some of these things. But geopolitical-wise and globally, I think there are various pockets here and there. We can put the dots together and we will not be struggling with ourselves, fighting one another over increasing fuel.
The various pockets, touch on them again, because again, you're saying that government has not been too creative in how it's managed the situation. What exactly should they do?
I think we are a bit too conventional and linear with fuel prices, and the least thing that happens in the world, it creates problem for us. That is why the world is a complex place. And by now, the economic management team will need to be looking at the headlines from Singapore, look at the headlines from the UK, look at the headlines from the Central Africa. The Central Africans seem to be more convergent, and they have a convergence criteria, whether they are trading among themselves or they are pumping out something. We were in Lagos to look at Dangote, even with the area of fertilizer because they saw these things coming. And they saw how they could manage the downstream. We call it the downstream when it comes to economics and finance. How we can manage some of these things, proximity within ourselves. But over the years or in recent past, it has always been this conventional way of managing it. And once something triggers, it affects everybody. I can understand the Ukraine, Russia, but we are the far off of the whatever crude oil effect of Russia, Ukraine. And I'm a security person, and even from geopolitical point of view, we cannot solely be henching on that one. I'm saying that it creates a problem, but others are managing it properly. And we will need to look down, not into the textbooks, but let's begin to speak to ourselves and say, what can we do about it? Other than that, you keep on increasing fuel, prices goes out, it goes run again and comes back to hit you, and you could see agitations in the street, and that is not good for good governance, and government will not be happy with it, obviously, but then we can do it far better. That is one point. George, do you agree that you have not been creative in managing the situation?
Well, he's made his points. You see, the issue of subsidy, Bella, we've been there before, and the devastating blow it nearly gave to our banking industry. And so when we talk subsidy, I'm a bit careful to say government should move there because of what it did to the banking sector. We are just coming out of the banking reforms where we pumped over 25 billion to get the banking sectors to be on their feet and bounce back to doing proper business. No economy can function properly if its banking sector is you know, junglized, forgive my choice of word. Yeah, so those are things that we need to do. But we have done something. He made a good point. But the alternative to is that this government had said that it's creating a desk where importers, especially importers of crude and others, will have their forex engagements. Yeah, I hope you heard that, yes. And so I think that is a proper way of getting them to exchange at a very competitive price than the normal black market where you go and you know, exchange at higher prices and co. If that desk starts functioning, if it's already started, I'm not aware of that, but I was excited when that was announced, and if it starts and we're able to control the forex in that angle, it will help, you know, in the pricing regime. But the ultimate is getting TOR to function properly. I think that will also help reduce the price there. 40%, yes. You see, the president, Adam was right when he said the president has said, if we take off some of those taxes, especially in this critical time, we are going to lose about 4 billion. E-levy, as we speak, is going to rake in about 4.5 billion projected. And so then you're bringing e-levy and then you're taking out 4 billion. It's like you're where you are. And it's about government programs and projects, the young people who are unemployed on the streets, and the, you know, objective of this government to create job opportunities for them, construction of major roads, and everybody's crying, okay?
That 4 billion, is it going to be enough for all these things that you said you want to do? Because
last time,
initially we were pegged at 6.9. Yes, even that, we were worried as to whether that would be enough to actually fix our roads.
But it's
now
a good
we are 4.5.
So, 4.5, and you want to take out, when it was 6.5, we had factored in the 4 billion that was going to come from the revenue angle, okay? And so if we're going to take it out, what is going to happen? But the issue is what we need to look at, because at this time, Bella, like it or not, people are in dire straits, okay? Things are difficult. And so as a government, what are we going to do? Should we bring the subsidy to cushion the people in the meantime? And then what happens after the temporal period? We build it up, or we rake in, how do we pay it off, okay? Yes, we can look at that because of the times in which we are. It's difficult. I've heard some labor unions calling for COLA, cost of living allowances, and sometimes it happens when things are difficult, like times like this. And so maybe government should look at that, COLA or the subsidy so that we cushion the people a little. Then when things get better, we can begin to look at other options that will rake in enough revenue to build the country, because these are difficult times.
And then we don't have money. If we take out that 4 billion, then we're going to lose out, because then if we're collecting e-levy, that's just going to replace what we're taking out, which is what George is saying. So let's be patient. Let's see what governments can do to fix the problem.
Two things. Let me say that it is also important to look at the dishonesty of President Williams Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on fuel pricing policy.
How?
In 2016, when President Akufo-Addo, then candidate Akufo-Addo, made a promise, an emphatic promise to the good people of Ghana, that he will reduce fuel prices when given the opportunity.
He never said that.
All this, and the videos are there, George. He promised, he actually said, I will reduce fuel prices. And I challenge your producers to
you.
To
you
produce.
edited that tape.
No, nobody edited that tape. President Akufo-Addo, and I'm telling you, several
And
promises.
if you can find that video, we've
Yes.
played it before.
Yeah. Several
When he
promises.
said he will
Akufo-Addo
reduce the
made
price of
several
fuel.
promises, emphatic promises. At the time he was making those promises, he was aware. And he has been long in politics enough to know that world prices constitute the build-up. There are cedi depreciation, taxes and levies and all of that. And yet he made that promise, because for him and his ilk in government today, it was all about grabbing political power. And so they could lie to the good people of Ghana, make those promises.
Never lied.
So that is the reason why today there is not even dignity at the presidency. Because you have people who make promises just to ride to power, and all these promises cannot be fulfilled.
Are you sure?
So that must be noted, that Akufo-Addo was aware, candidate Akufo-Addo at the time, that all these factors were there, and yet he made those promises that under John Mahama and the NDC, fuel prices were going up. When
Maybe he had a plan. Maybe he had a plan.
And where is the plan? 5 years into power, almost 6 years. Where is the plan? Where is the plan? Where is the plan?
In our first time.
We must call out dishonest politicians like the president.
Come on.
Because you see, look, I'm a young man in politics, and I am worried that when you speak to other young people, gradually or increasingly, young people have no confidence in politicians. It is because they look at the likes of Akufo-Addo, who ride on the back of luxurious promises,
but it's not
and
just
they are not
him.
fulfilling it.
If they say they
I have
lost
cited
confidence in politicians,
and I'm saying that he is a
there's
classical
precedence to
example.
it.
He is a classical example.
Well, could
He's the one that
we
they
also
avoid.
say that maybe with some of the things that former President John Dramani Mahama
where
did,
it is.
other
Well,
former
I'm saying that,
presidents,
I'm
that's
saying
probably
that.
why
We are
over
talking about-
time that confidence has eroded, and not
So
only
you are
because of
saying that
President Akufo-Addo.
over time there are many others. I mean, we can mention Dr. Baumia and others, but I am telling you that we are talking about fuel prices. And I'm telling you that President Akufo-Addo is a classical example of a politician who is dishonest and lied to the people just to grab political power. And I've cited the example. I challenge your producers to play the
was a
video.
lie to the people.
Apart from that, let's also talk about this whole argument about when you lose 4 million and all that, 4 billion. I have always maintained, as an economic policy analyst, that our biggest problem as a country is not revenue generation. It is expenditure management. So if government of Ghana loses 4 billion to cushioning Ghanaians in terms of fuel subsidies, if government is able to manage the resources that we have very well, we will not even feel the impact of that. And I will give you examples. Bella, this is a country that is complaining about not having enough money, and we are talking about 4 billion. But it's the same country that has allocated 3.1 billion to the presidency alone. 3.1 billion to the office of the government machinery. This same office, look at the items that they list as they've involved in terms of expenditure. And that is why you have the Dada Damwasi and co that we have. Chief of Staff spending thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring
But the
MPs
same
to come
person
and
came
vote.
out and said the Chief of Staff did not.
Thousands.
Zongo
Thousands of hundreds of
development is
thousands.
our presidency. Do you
So,
know that?
all these things are the issue. So the
Presidential
issue is
special
that, Bella,
initiative?
government is simply not managing the resources that we have
Are you sure?
very well. And that is the problem. It's not about revenue generation. So I keep saying that, look at the e-levy. They have made all sort of noise about e-levy. Now, the projection is around 4.5 billion.
Yeah.
The roads minister told the people of Ghana that he was waiting for e-levy to pay all contractors and then construct new roads. Are you aware that as we speak today, the debt owed the contractors alone by government is in excess of 4.5 billion, just contractors. Health Minister told us that they were waiting for e-levy to construct Agenda 111. Meanwhile, at the time President Akufo-Addo addressed the nation and told the people of Ghana that by the time he's handing over in 2025, all 111 hospitals will be built. There was not even e-levy. Today, they are banking all their hopes on e-levy to do Agenda 111. Meanwhile, Roads Minister also said he needed that money to pay contractors. And I'm telling you, the amount we owe contractors is even in excess of the 4.5 billion. Now, Agric Minister says he's waiting for e-levy to be able to buy fertilizers and other farm inputs. So you ask yourself whether the e-levy has become their own form of sika geri, that is magical money, that the moment it comes, it can solve every other problem. We need to be honest to the people of Ghana. And politics must be done with some credibility. And that is what is lacking in this government.
Bella, just a second.
Let me just let Richard speak to that. We'll have to move on to our next topic, unfortunately. But Richard, please touch on it.
See, this whole issue about economics and finance, it's a simple thing. When you take economics and finance, let's bring it down to the layman. You have income, or what you call revenue, and expenditure. Once you are not making so much income, you count down your expenditure. What we are not talking about in this whole argument is the size of government. It might not pertain to this particular government, but the way we form our government and the formation of this government comes with huge expenditure. Now, we are also going to lump certain agencies under the presidency. So anytime you see the presidency, it's so much, so much income or so much revenue goes there.
Yeah.
Then you have fraud, which they call malfeasance. And if you look at some of the malfeasance, the Auditor General, my brother spoke about Tor. George, what has been the history of Tor? Is that not where the politicians take our oil and they do all manner of things with? Prudent management of national resources will lead to national development. And you have a reserve for a day such as this. And I'm saying that we have not managed the public purse properly. We have not been creative about it. Because nobody is talking about the size of government. And this government in particular is a bit more larger. We can justify by saying that everybody has a role to play. Let's be cautious we do not add more. Because the more we add, the more expenditure it comes with. Then we can go back to look at why we divide the regions in the first place. Where it goes with external expenditure. Not envisaging the Ukraine-Russia war. Then some of the things we said we're going to do. I think we should sit down. When your government came into power and you have the Business Development Ministry, I was so happy that that ministry is going to be the backbone that will drive government initiatives. But at the end of the day, it was scrapped.
We were told that they had achieved their mandates, and so some of them were dissolved into
other
ministries.
You remember where we came from, Epritech. You remember Epritech? Yes. Many young people do not remember Epritech. That was where our entrepreneurship and industry was built. Go to Rwanda and see. They have National Development Authority, which is being headed by a very young lady. You have Export Promotion Council, Ghana Investment Promotion Council, and you have Free Zone. You have all manner of things scattered around, and you are not creating convergence criteria. That is why it looks as if you are not getting there, and that is why everybody is running to Rwanda. Then you come to democracy, and whether Paul Kagame is a Democrat or is a dictator. I think we are not doing something right, and it's not far-fetching. We need to just look within and be a bit more creative when it comes to national resources and how we can align it to what? National development. But where politics become an avenue for creating jobs for all manner of persons and without necessarily aligning profit, productivity to merit, that is why I look as if our nation is going downwards.
Okay.
And common things like fuel prices always we'll have to create a political argument between NDC and NPP, which is not too necessary.
I mean, if we're talking about some promises that were made that are yet to be fulfilled, Agenda 111 is one of them. And the president in the State of the Nation address said, even though it was an overly ambitious promise that he made, that they'll be done within 2 years, he still hopes that they'll complete it before the end of his tenure so he can commission them. The health minister has spoken and he says it's too early to predict whether Agenda 111 will be completed or not. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have a conversation on that. Welcome back. This is still TV3 New Day, and we're having a conversation on some of the big topics that have made rounds over the weekend and early this morning. Now, this is something that was said by the health minister last week, towards the end of last week, and he was responding to questions about Agenda 111 and whether governments will be able to complete or fulfill this promise before the end of President Akufo-Addo's tenure. Let's take a look at what the president said during the State of the Nation address, talking about how it was an overly ambitious, wish to have it completed before the end of his tenure in 2 years. But he says that regardless, I hope to commission all 111 hospitals before I leave office. Then we'll take a look at what the health minister said just last week about the fact that it is too early to predict if, in fact, they'll be able to complete this promise. Let's take a look.
Mr. Speaker, I have to report, like all major construction projects, it is evident that the initial schedule we gave for the completion of Agenda 111 was overly ambitious. Identifying suitable sites around the country, for example, has turned out to be even more problematic than had been anticipated. I am now able to say that a great deal of the preparatory work has now been completed, and work has started at 87 of the 111 sites. I've been assured that preliminary work on the remaining 24 sites is ongoing. We have every intention of seeing this project through to a successful end, which will enable me to commission all 111 hospitals before I leave office on 7th January 2025.
It's too early for me to predict whether I will finish or not. But optimistically, that is what we want to do, and we try to push ourselves. We still have challenges with even land, especially in the big cities like Accra and Kumasi. We are now changing the infrastructure, design, so that instead of spreading across bigger land area, we want to go up. So they are doing designs and looking at soil testing and things in some areas where we have challenges. Even in the communities, the districts, some chiefs are coming, and there are litigation in some areas. These beds you see here are ICU beds, intensive care unit. The equipment, we don't have many in our system. And I believe it will go so much, very, very far and deep in our intensive care service delivery.
And that's the health minister, Honorable Kwame, when he was speaking about this when he took delivery of supplies from the Italian government in Accra. In fact, he did say that with some of the designs, we might have to even change it completely because there are challenges with acquiring land and securing land. Richard, I'll start off with you because I'm not sure where we stand. We're almost in the first half, done with the first half of the second year.
Exactly.
The president says that I hope that I can commission it. Health minister says I can't promise.
But I come to think about it. Ghana is known for anybody's father, anybody's mother, or anybody's business. And we have this thing about political parties switching off, and whatever one person started, they will not finish it. But if there's somebody who started facilities in head, and you can't complete Agenda 111, what stops you from finishing the other ones? And even before we start Agenda 111, I believe that the MPP government could have continued the NDC hospitals and still build new. A place like Sege constituency, they don't have a district hospital. They have been relying on the Bato Hospital, which was built by the Roman Catholic for many years. So we could have said that there are places where we don't have hospitals, let's build one. And where we have some other hospitals, let's enhance it. And look at the fight between NDC and MPP over the Legon Hospital, over the Bank of Ghana Hospital, over the Rich Hospital, even before some of these hospitals were completed. It looks as if they don't know what they are doing, and nobody seems to care. Or The monies are not meant for us. And even when it comes to the design, I was having a discussion with somebody and said that you have National Planning Authority in this country. What is their work? Couldn't we have people there who would have planned model hospitals for us before any government come to power and said we want to build hospitals and pick it up? And that tells you what goes behind the scene. I know you don't like politics, but when you follow politics, particularly the way we manage it in this country, it's messy. Many of the roads they were awarded, even not in the area hospital, they knew there was no fund in the road fund. There was no money in there, and yet they went ahead and awarded those roads. And we've not managed our roads properly. We've not managed our education properly. We've not managed our health properly. We've not managed our food supply properly. So these 4 basic things that every nation will need as key survivor and stand on it to develop, we have not managed it for God knows 65 years of independence. And I think we need to go back soberly, without this heckling of NDC and NPP, and look at it and say, where are we and what is wrong with us and what do we want to do? The president will want to commission Agenda 111. If we are facing difficulties with it, let us plan it again and do it properly. And I want to say that, George, when you go, I know my dad is in the office of the president, I know he's watching, but tell them this whole issue about miscommunication, mismessaging, contradictions, is not helping the government. And there's a skilling when it comes to political communication. And I think we need to master it, especially young people in politics or people who speak for government. And that is why sometimes it paints the president very black, because miscommunication, contradictions, and many of those things, I don't think is properly done. And we might want to look at it again. Let's synchronize what we say and what we do, and create those right opportunities for the president to be able to address some of these key issues once and for all, and we'll be fine. So that even if there are difficulties in achieving some of those things, it wouldn't be that the president has said one thing, another person comes to say another thing, another person comes to say another thing within the same government circles. It is very dicey.
But to be fair, the issue about securing land has come up quite a number of times. I remember that when that promise came, when the president first announced that we're going to complete Agenda 111 within, what, a year, then we heard from the health minister who said we're having challenges with securing the land, so we're now doing phase 1 of the project. So issue about securing land has always been there. But the concern is the fact that, is it really going to happen? We've been told about 87 of the projects have started. Will that even be completed, even before we look at the
when
rest?
politicians say 87, you remember the tracking stuff? We use money, we launch it. Many of the stuff on the tracking could not be found. And you see these boys in the bushes trying to say the president commissioned something here. I'm not even looking at it whether president said 111, we are able to achieve it or not. But we are talking about Ghana. And health is a very important thing. We just came out of COVID, or we are almost out of it. And you saw the role some of these health facilities have played. Let's manage our health sector properly. In the areas of Accra and Ghana, we are talking about government that says they cannot fund land. It's not true. Government,
it's not true.
Government can have anything and everything. Even the government lands in Nkrumah left for us. Is it not politicians who hijack the land? The land in Accra here, we can do a survey and let government go to anywhere and say they wanted the land and they cannot get it. Government should have the confidence and the boldness to say, we are compensating you for taking your land to do A, B, C, D. George, you remember, many of the soldiers who died on Kanda Highway, construction of Kanda Highway came under a huge resistance. And soldiers have to be on air. Many of them do not even have a car to drive on that road, or some of them even die. Government cannot say that, me, government, Mr. Government, Madam Government, I can't find a land in Kumasi and Accra. Have they gone to speak to Ashanti and said he cannot find them a land?
They said that DCs have allocated some lands to them, but the owners of those lands are saying we want a fat compensation, otherwise we will not release the lands to you.
So Bella, that is government and is part of engagement. Proper engagement between landowners and government. We are not talking about DCs here. Who is in charge of this project? We are talking about government. Has government gone to Ashanti and said they are looking for land and they say they don't give them the land? Have they gone to La or Osu? All the lands within this side, were they not for La and Osu people before Teshinongwa? Even the military lands, you saw what they are doing with it. And the time is going to come when the military are going to be looking for places to build barracks, and they won't get it again. I'm saying that they have allocated the lands to themselves in the name of city development, and people are getting the portion of the land and building structures for real estate, and that has become the order of the day. When you need an essential services like what? Hospitals and roads expansion and all that, the government say they can't find land. It might be true, but it looks very scary. And I don't want to believe that government will go to Ashanti and say, we even need to build another university in Kumasi. Because the science and tech, when we come and left for us, we have turned into social studies and business. And the science aspect is being faded away. And we might be thinking to go to Ashanti and say, we need another land to build or to for university. And Ashanti will not say he will give us the land. Even in Accra, Ada, where lands are not meant for the school, there's a lot of land from Dawenya. They should clear the traffic from Dawenya. And you see a lot of land, and that road will become like 10 minutes drive. Were we not going to Pram Pram for an airport? Because we know from here to Pram Pram is just about 15 minutes drive. We need to be creative about it. We need to manage the public space properly. And I'm saying that there might be challenges. If you go to the Bank of Ghana Hospital, it's just a tall something they built up there. The university hospital, the land is for University of Ghana, yet they had a portion to build it, and others have taken some aspect of it to do some other thing. We cannot say we don't find land, so we are not able to build a hospital. There might be challenges, and there will be rare issues, but let's manage it properly for the sake of this country and for the sake of the next generation.
George, I'll come to you, Adam, hold on, but I'll go to George first, because, I mean, this is of great concern. There are quite a number of abandoned hospitals that are yet to be completed. Let's talk about Shama District Hospital. That's a major problem. I mean, the citizens in that community are saying it's been many years. You still have not completed the hospital. Even at KNUST, there's supposed to be an 800-bed capacity hospital that's been left abandoned. Why are we not completing those ones and putting so much pressure on ourselves and saying that we're going to complete Agenda 111? And now we're saying we can't even find lands because compensation has become a problem for the owners of these lands.
And just go to lab. Before you come, go to lab. My mom worked as a health professional. Lab, hospital was broken down to grasses. Now you go there and goats and things. That's the land. They should build one there.
Thank you. Before I touch on that, this government is committed to cutting expenditure by 30%. I think that was announced. And then 50% cut on coupons as part of expenditure reduction. Those are facts that have been there. And then after inheriting 11.2 billion worth of projects, supposed projects, after auditing about 5.7 billion of them were cut off, which means they were not properly awarded and all that 5.5 billion bill. So payment had gone on to a point. Now let's come to Agenda 111. I was excited when Agenda 111 was announced. The same way I was excited when the 200 community day schools were announced. Anybody in Cape Coast would attest to the fact that anytime I went on radio, I had commended the president for that initiative. Education is the game changer, the leveler. And so we need to give everybody opportunity to have education. And so when free SHS came, it came to, take away the cost impediment, which was the major one. Now, Agenda 111, as resource person said, our objective is to get every district in Ghana have a district hospital. Okay, so about 88 out of the 111 is targeted at the districts. Okay, districts that do not have hospitals, and so it's a good thing. And I agree with you, Bella. I know for a fact that the Ministry of Health has a technical committee that had audited all ongoing health infrastructure and are making moves to ensure that they are completed, they are continued and completed. That's within the remit of the Ghana Health Service. Agenda 111 is coming directly from the office of the president. You get it. And so it is a specialized project that the president is so much keen and interested in seeing it completed. I disagree with resource person on the issue of miscommunication. I don't think there was miscommunication here. The health minister is telling you the real challenges that are confronting the area.
The president is saying that I'm hoping that we can commission.
Yes.
Whose word should we take? The president or the health minister?
It doesn't mean it's going to stop the work. Okay? He's provided alternative that let's commit to high-rise building. Okay, so for instance, in the Osu enclave, if they are having difficulty to getting a land to build a hospital there, or in your Teshi and Nungwa area, what happens if you get something small and you can manage it. Can we look at the high-rise one? It's an alternative, and if you want to commit to that, then you need to redesign the hospital.
At an extra cost? Will that come at an extra cost?
You have the land before you design it.
Of course.
So we don't even have money.
No.
And
you
we're
pay
going
the
to
designer.
for exactly.
What? I don't get what you're saying.
We're paying
George,
for
you pay the
design
designer to design you a program.
Yes.
And you said
Where are we
you
getting
did.
the money from?
No, that's a design that is for all Agenda 111 hospital, right?
Yes.
Good. And we are, and they're supposed to maybe occupy, let's say, a 4-acre plot, right? And then we are having challenges in about 4 or 5 districts in Accra. Okay, you cannot get that 4-acre.
So you have to
get
redesign.
it. So you have to
Are we
redesign
paying
that.
for that redesign?
Oh, why not? Why not?
whose money?
Why
Where's
not?
that money
It's
coming
no.
from?
George.
I'm sorry, but it's
George,
like,
what
forgive
is
my
it?
choice of word. It's like we are trying to say, you know, because of redesigning, we need to stop it. No.
George, but we don't have money.
We don't have money. We have money to build the Agenda 111. We are committed to it.
But that is a
he
set
said
amount.
something. He said something.
Was
He
there
said
an
something.
arrangement for
George,
redesigning
No.
funds? So
you
you are going to
design.
also
No,
dip
listen.
in
No.
national coffers to
Of course.
redesign.
You are doing something good for the country.
But the
okay?
finance minister says that the economy is already in shambles. We're now
come
trying
on.
to raise
But
money
we are
from
still
e-levy
paying
and all of
workers.
that.
We are still paying other. We are getting
You see the miscommunication I was talking
road
about.
infrastructure going on. Are they not going on? They are. Now I'm saying it's not miscommunication because he is saying there's real difficulty. I know also for a fact that there are certain districts that chiefs are fighting to get the Agenda 111 cited in their communities. Okay? The chief A says, come and do it within one district. We have land for you here. Another one says, do it on my land. Those ones too are there.
Did you not anticipate all these challenges before putting out timelines?
No. The president has
Marcus.
come to say the timeline. I thought it was overambitious, and I've revised it till 2025 when I'm handing over. I hope to have finished. And let's be candid. I am not one person who is going to say, if we don't have all the 111, we have failed. No.
George, we don't even have one yet.
No, they are working on them. It's
Not
not going.
even one is completed.
Places they've started. So
And you
let
think that
them
we
go
can
on.
do 111 before
No.
2025?
And I am saying I'm not one who thinks we must have all the 111 in place to say we have succeeded. No. If we get 80% or 70% of them erect and operational before we leave office, fantastic.
Is that likely?
Fantastic. Yes.
It's likely.
Yes, I know. You see, there are some people that I know have gotten the contract, and because of this land difficulty, are still waiting. Okay, they're waiting, and so such people, the design they have is for instance, the 4-acreage plot. So because he cannot get that, he has to wait for, if there's going to be a redesign, it is done,
George,
then they
why
go.
are
So
we-
the health minister was being candid with us.
Why are we dealing
that
with
there are
these
challenges,
difficulties
but those
when there
challenges
are
not gonna
abandoned
stop us.
hospitals? The land has already been
told you
secured.
about-
Work has already started. Why
Yes.
did we not rather invest
No,
in
this
those
government
buildings?
is working on them. As I speak now. let
All
me
the
tell you
abandoned
something.
hospitals
I told
are
you,
being worked on.
Speak to them.
KNUST,
Ghana Health Service.
have they
Ghana-
resumed
go.
work?
Ghana Health Service, go and ask them. I told you
No,
there's
but
a
George, you're
committee.
here, I'm asking
No,
you.
yeah, I've told you that there's a committee.
KNUST, have they resumed work on that 800-bed capacity hospital? It's been abandoned for about 15 years.
This government at Konfanochi, projects that have been abandoned for over 40 years have been completed. Mother and child, Kolebu, go check.
I'm talking about KNUST.
No, I don't have that
hospital.
specific. What I'm telling you is
The
that
Shama
as
District
far-
Hospital.
Yes, this government is committed to continuing projects, but it doesn't mean you have to abandon the new ones you want to build. No.
Why
Let
did
me
you
give
not
a
include
typical
them in your
example.
Agenda 111
yes.
then?
No. If it's a district, it's part of the Agenda 111.
Okay.
If it's a district,
Okay.
But let me round up. You see, let's allow the government. I was talking about education, for instance. As we speak, they started these community schools. Fantastic. They completed 29. This government is continued and completed 31. As we speak, okay? And their flower one, I understand, is almost completed, right? By this government, it was 27%. No, it's not the people.
Community
it's
came
not the
together
people,
to-
no.
When
it's
our-
not, it's
Let's
propaganda.
not digress,
That's it.
by the way.
Yeah, so let me
Because
round up
chiefs
on
and
that.
the
you
people,
see,
let's-
the
let's-
hospitals are vulnerable at the moment.
Yes, so I'm telling
But I
you,
think it's
this
myself.
government and the president, we are committed to finishing that. And it's good for the people. Health development. We saw what COVID did to all of us. Hence, our determined resolve to finish Agenda 111. By 2025, 7th January, if we sit here and we say we have completed about 88 out of the 111, I would say fantastic.
Adam, hold on. Let's listen to the people.
George, why will you have a design
some people in
in
Shama district. Mr. Richie Kumado, please hold on. These are people in Shama district who are complaining bitterly about that abandoned hospital. They're saying that, well, nothing is being done about it. Let's take a look.
So they almost getting to 1.5 years.
It's been more than a year and we have seen nothing happening at the site.
The mere political talk. We have already a hospital here. Instead of the local renovation, we just no just to have the favor in community.
The news team on Monday, September 6, 2021 visited the site. Acting President of the Shama Traditional Council, Nana Wienu II, on a recent visit of the president to the area, reminded him of the hospital.
We're all expecting the hospital project to be up by this time. The last time I asked about it, I was told the soil is...
Edelman to speak.
Bella, I can understand why my brother George is struggling this morning.
I'm not struggling.
Because
I've been straightforward with the issues.
Make
your case. I've never struggled on this platform. You are the pension for those ignoble comments. We don't have to be countenancing such ignoble comments.
No, but you see,
you've made your point.
Allow me to make my point.
I've made my point. I didn't struggle here.
The viewers can see clearly how
I'm not here to please you. That's all.
So allow me. Respect the viewers.
Respect the viewers.
Understood.
Respect the viewers.
And respect
the viewers. I'm repeating it, so I'm saying that. The respect.
Come on.
We must respect our viewers.
More points than anybody.
And George here spent all his time spewing blatant lies. And I will set the record straight. The first one on the Aplau Community Hospital, the community school. When the chief, Togbi Fiti, the fourth, asked government to come and continue the project, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, in response, insulted him and insulted the intelligence of the people of Aplau. The community members contributed. As I sit with you, my contribution was part, and we completed the project. Why is he trying to take credit and say government has completed it?
So government did not.
The president's intervention in the Aplau Community Day School was an insult from the presidency and nothing more.
Government did not go back to.
Secondly, it is ridiculous.
What's the evidence of
it is ridiculous for anyone to suggest that there are communities in districts where chiefs are fighting over where district hospitals should be located, because we all know that district hospitals are situated at the district capitals. So how can you go to a community where different chiefs are fighting when they should know? We have some exceptions. For example, when you go to my municipality, the Ketu North municipality, Joje is the district capital. And there is a huge private hospital called the St. Anthony's Hospital in Georgia, where I was even born. And so when government wanted to allocate, John Mohammed's government allocated a district hospital, the people realized that when you look at the geography of the area, you needed to serve the people of the other traditional, which is the Veta and the Apipe area. And so district hospital was cited as Veta. But every district in Ghana where there are no hospitals, district hospitals are cited at the district capital. So it is ridiculous for you to even come. Which government policy? What is the government policy?
Education capital. So if you have, we understand. When you were making your point, you did not interject.
You see, you just told a blatant lie because you don't know. You don't know. And I have exposed you. Secondly, Bella. President Akufo-Addo in April 2020. When he was addressing the nation in his 8th address, told the people of Ghana that he was going to build 88 district hospitals and that the project was expected to start immediately after the address. President Akufo-Addo, in May 2020, the same President Akufo-Addo came back to the people of Ghana and said the project will begin in July 2020. As we speak today, the project is now Agenda 111, And he told the people of Ghana in his last State of the Nation address that work was going on in 87 districts. You are building hospital and work is going on in 87 districts. Today you are telling us that there's no land.
Some of them, they've been challenged with some of the land.
Like, which challenge?
Please stand on this for me. I'm told my time is up, by the way.
You gave judge all the time. And I am telling you on authority that the president that we have today is so dishonest that there are no projects going on in 87 districts.
How do
you have a production team. Let them give us
the you are the one making the story.
I am making that. So I am asking you, Bella.
No work has started.
I am telling you that he's saying 87, and I'm telling you, as the presenter, as the host of this New Day program, let your TV station with reporters all around tell us where the 87 hospitals have been built.
You are the
honesty is too much. Now, I think it's important. You gave him too much time. It's important for me to make the point. It's important for me to make the point.
I'll give you just a minute, please.
Yes, so
just a minute to make
the point to conclude, the point must be made that again, Akufo-Addo told us that $100 million was secured for this Agenda 111. The projects were expected to be done in 18 months. So when you look at the president's speech and all the statements that he has made, he keeps contradicting himself. And again, it validates the point I made earlier that President Akufo-Addo is a classical example of a dishonest politician.
All right.
And must never be taken seriously.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you. I wish we could continue. Unfortunately, there's no time. I've been speaking to Edem. Edem Agbana is the Deputy Youth Organizer for the NDC. Mr. George Ayisi is the Director of Communications for NADMO. And Mr. Richard Kumado is a security expert. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Ghana Man Capsules for energy and vitality enhances your libido and gives you good blood circulation. So all you have to do is take 1 or 2 capsules daily and you'll be fine. Ghana Man Up is also another one that you should also take. And Prostajoy capsules for prostate health management. Frequent and painful urination, is that what you're experiencing? Are you also experiencing incomplete emptying of the bladder? So this is how you prevent it. Just take 1 capsule a day. But if you're already experiencing it, to treat, just take 1 capsule 2 times daily. Prostajoy, P with ease, P with joy. Available in pharmacies and herbal shops nationwide. Please call them on 0244-727-028 or 0244-752-380. Ghana Herb Therapeutics, their website is www.ghanaherb.com. We'll be back with sports and more. And later, the Artist of the Year, Kiddy, will be joining us on the show. Keep watching. We'll be right back.